on? It's Asher coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today we thought we'd do something a little bit different here. I have Jax back on the channel. Jax, welcome to the channel, man. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me again. Good to be back.
Yeah, man, we're going to make you a reoccurring guest here for a lot of special segments, not just pro tips, but a lot of pro tips on decks. People really seem to like you. My viewers, I do too. So we thought we'd do some like card ranking stuff with you as well. And today we're going to rank all the legendary cards. I had you, from your perspective, as like a top ladder player, certainly a better player than I am. I had you rank the legendary cards. And let me tell you, man, I would have ranked them a lot differently, so I can't wait to hear your list, and we'll talk about like why you ranked each card at each position. So let's start with the worst card. And by the way here, I told you this before we started recording, Jax, but as you know, these are like the most controversial videos I do, like card ranking. So yeah, be kind to the comments, guys, just if you disagree. Let us know why. So what's the worst card, legendary card in the game?
I'm prepared to get flamed, but my worst card in the game, worst legendary card is the Princess. I think that she is by far the worst because she only fits in one archetype, which is Logbait, and Logbait is the worst it's ever been because of all the drill and the multiple spells to counter the drill and everything going on in the meta. She is just in the worst spot she's ever been, and definitely the worst legendary in the game in my opinion.
Bro, coming in with the thunder. I can't believe you put Princess as the worst card in the game, or worst legendary card. By the way, we should probably say this, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, Jax, but all the legendary cards are like playable. Like they're all pretty good, yeah, right? They're not like, they shouldn't need a buff, just in a bad spot archetype wise, right?
For sure. So like the worst legendary card is not going to be close to the worst actual card, but there is a pretty big difference between 18 and 1 and how much they're played. So
Princess is worse than Mirror. You heard it from Jax. The surprises continue here. So what do you have at 17, Jax?
Due to its recent nerf, I have the Ice Wizard at 17 because that card just literally became pretty much obsolete overnight. It used to be really good. It slowed down the entire push, and you had to commit multiple spells to kill a 3 elixir card that was just gonna make your push go at a crawl. So now that you can actually kill it with the Fireball for the -1 trade while also having that in a push, it just makes the card so much like less versatile, and you have to be so much more careful considering Fireball is like the most popular spell in the game right now. It just makes him a lot worse, and I don't think he gets nearly as much value as he used to, and I think he's pretty far down on the list as well.
Yeah, man, I actually agree with you on this one. Ice Wizard, I've always put Ice Wiz like top 5 recently, top 10 at least, in terms of legendary card rankings for the last year plus. But you're right, that nerf really hit hard. Ice Wiz is actually a card that I would like to see that nerf kind of reverted. I didn't think he was game-breaking OP, but I don't know. How do you feel about it? Would you revert the nerf if you could, or do you think it's okay?
I honestly think he's okay at the moment. I really hated him when he was really powerful because your opponent could just go Ice Wizard Tornado and then play like one card, and you could have an entire push with the tank in front of it killed, just because of how slow everything moves, how slow that tank and everything else can protect itself, and the Ice Wizard Splash being able to hit multiple things at once. It just really led to not a fun gameplay experience, but that's just me, so I could be pretty wrong right there.
No, I think it's a matter of opinion on that one, right? Because I actually do like that slower paced defensive gameplay, but I'm probably the only one out there who likes it. So, you know, viewers, you can let us know how you feel about the Ice Wizard, and if you agree, is he like towards the bottom of your legendary ranking, guys, or do you like him still, even despite the nerf?
So for 16, I have the Sparky. A lot of people think the Sparky is actually really good because of how much damage it does and how it can literally shoot and kill like 5 units at a time if they're close together and hit the tower from monumental ranges. But I don't think the Sparky is very good. I've seen Sparky get played against drill decks and played drill decks myself against Sparky, and it's just really bad. The Sparky ends up shooting one goblin at a time, and then the drill pops and the Sparky shoots the drill and the goblins just kill everything, and you can play a single card on top of it. It's really easily distracted, and there's just so many better answers to the Sparky that make it so bad, and it's just not getting as much value as it used to get.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there. Enough said, I guess, Sparky. I agree with you. Like, I love the card, and like, I am a Sparky player when she's good, but between all the E-Giant NATOs going around and in the Goblin Drill, as you said, I don't know. I don't feel great about being a Sparky player right now.
15, this may be probably one of my worst rankings on this list, but I have the Ram Rider. I just think that she's been kind of outshone by other win conditions, cough the drill, which is literally everywhere, and I think most of those Tesla cycle decks that are so popular just really have a good matchup. However, I could be wrong, and I think I am wrong because there are so many Ram Rider decks. There's P.E.K.K.A. Ram Rider, multiple variations of that going around. A lot of Ram Rider bridge spam is back in the meta, and I think she's actually in a decent spot, but just because she doesn't fit in too many of the archetypes, and she gets countered so well by Tesla Cycle and Drill, I think she's 15, but I think that's my least confident one right there.
Okay, I like that. I like that because I like the Ram Rider personally. I would put her top 10, but probably towards the bottom of my top 10. And I think that, Jax, it could be just as simple as that Ram Rider, and this is just my hunch, I'm not saying this definitively, but Ram Rider seems much easier to play than Battle Ram. I don't know. I guess it's just because like players like me, like average players, you know, that defensive utility you can get out of the Ram Rider really helps us out when our rotation's bad too. You know, balloons, hog riders, whatever. I like that defensive utility out of my win condition, you know?
Yeah, and she also helps out in your push as well when you're on the attack. If your opponent plays like a Dart Goblin within range, she can snare him dead really quickly and creates a lot of messed up interactions with other stuff for your opponent. So I agree. If Battle Ram was a legendary, it would definitely be very close to the bottom in my opinion. I definitely think Ram is a better win con there. So number 14, I have the Lumberjack. This might also get me a little bit of hate because Lumberjack is actually pretty versatile card. He can do a lot of things. He's really good in balloon decks because he has that rage up effect, especially like Lumberloon Freeze, which has actually been pretty popular recently. And he's in a couple other decks as well, but I just don't think he's been at his strongest. And I think he's also outshone by other stuff like Dark Prince and Valkyrie, which is literally everywhere because of the drill right now. People are just going to decide to use the Dark Prince or the Valkyrie because they do so much better against the drill and have so much splash damage and defensive utility. So because of that, those cards aren't legendaries, but because of how much influence they have on the legend, like the legendary use rates, I think the Lumberjack is 14 just because there's many better options, in my opinion, than him.
Yeah, I agree with you on Lumberjack. I think Lumberjack, by the way, this is like a weird kind of threshold where I feel like every card above this is really good. You know, like you can make an argument that they're the solid cards to play. So don't read too much into the next few, especially guys. If you could play one card for the rest of your life, would you play Lumberjack or Mini P.E.K.K.A. and you can only choose one?
Lumberjack. Oh man, Lumberjack is so much fun.
Okay. You like that rage spell. Like that rage.
Yeah, the rage spell, and then I also like how fast he attacks. He's always been my favorite legendary.
Okay.
I always wanted to get him when I was like in Frozen Peak and I first got there. I was like, please give me the Lumberjack as my first.
I guess with the red hair, you have to. It's like a default, right?
Oh yeah.
You guys, you all group together. You have your you know, your secret society meetings, and you're like Lumberjack.
Yeah.
And actually, guys,
they
call you the Lumberjack. There we go. Speaking of Jax's hair and his face and everything around him, we are going to send him a new webcam for next week's, hopefully for next week's video, just to get a little bit of an upgrade. You're looking still good there. You're looking pretty clear, but we can do better.
13, I have the Magic Archer. And like you said, I think past this point, I think even once we got past 16, all the cards are really solid and playable. But Magic Archer, I just don't think he is incredibly strong at the moment. He's definitely just being completely outshone by cards like Mother Witch. Whereas the Magic Archer could get a lot of value and the opponent had to fireball, the opponent has to fireball the Mother Witch because she'll get a lot of value and then also have that value get turned into an entire set of pigs onto your tower. So you just have to be so much more careful around the Mother Witch. And I think she just completely outshines the Magic Archer right now. He's still a really good card. He'll still get you a lot of value if you play him correctly. And he's still one of the scarier cards since he can just go win condition mode and do 1,000 damage to tower. But I just don't think he's as good as he has been because of the Mother Witch and her prevalence in the meta.
That makes sense to me too. I probably would have Magic Archer up like 1 or 2 spots, but I agree. Like putting Magic Archer that low, you almost feel like this has to be wrong. But Magic Archer is actually, believe it or not, the second lowest win rate out of all legendary cards, Magic Archer. And the first lowest win rate is actually in your top 5, so stay tuned for that, guys.
So next up is the Night Witch. So the Night Witch is a card that pretty much ticks off every single person that plays against her. She has 4 elixir cost, but you have to spend 6 elixir in spells just to kill her, and then she also spawns a bunch of bats. And so unless you have like arrows or something with a fireball, the bats are just gonna go ahead and start getting so much value while you wait to kill them. However, I put her so low because even though she is super annoying and gets a bunch of value when she's used, she's literally only used in Golem right now. And Golem, while being strong, is not most of the meta at the moment. So I just don't really feel like I can place her in my top 10 because of how little she is used. It's just one archetype where she dominates, but nothing else really.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I think Night Witch, you're spot on. We would have been the same ranking, I feel like, on Night Witch. So I agree with you. Although you do see you're in more than just Golem decks when you're around my trophy range, but
Oh,
they're
that's
not.
true.
It
That's
doesn't
true.
mean they're all effective though. Those decks. So
So number 11, another pretty controversial one. I have the Miner here. And I know
ooh,
some people are probably going to be like, yo, what? I put him in top 3. And other people are like, nah, he's 18th for sure. But I think the Miner is still capable of getting a lot of value. He's not going to go and be your win condition chipping off the tower HP. But he is able to get you a lot of value on offense because he can go in and tank for things, and also if you play him on the back, pull troops to the back of the tower while everything else goes to the front and starts damaging. And he can also get you some really nice defensive versatility for 3 elixir. But the Goblin Drill is literally just the Miner on steroids right now, so it's kind of difficult to place him too high when every deck is probably made better by using Goblin Drill instead of the Miner, just because of how much value the Goblin Drill gets on both defense and offense.
yeah, it's so weird to see Miner this low on your list. It's one of the first things that
I
stood out to
know.
me. But you make a compelling argument, and you're right. I mean, you ever go so long playing Jax between seeing miners that you see the fast moving thing underground? You're like, what? What's going on with this Goblin Drill? Like you're
Mhm.
just so used to the Goblin Drill speed. Now, at first, the Goblin Drill seems super slow. Now, to me, it's changed to where the miner just seems super fast. I'm like, what is this card?
Yeah.
You know? So I agree with you there.
Number 10, I have the Mega Knight. Most hated card in mid ladder,
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
He does have such an incredible amount of potential value with his spawn damage and being able to go ahead and just kill pretty much everything your opponent throws at you on your side. And he does really good work on offense as well, clearing up all of that swarm. But I just don't think he's incredibly good right now. He's really easy to play around with the quick cycle decks. You're not going to get too much spawn value of him, and it's going to be really easy to just kite him around and activate your king tower. Just throw him to the other side of the arena if you want, by pulling him with the cheap cards. And I just don't think that he is as good as he has been, and I don't think that the hate on him is warranted. Controversial opinion, but he's just like a little bit around middle of the pack. He's number 10 and the out of 18. I think that's about where he should be, just because so many counters to him, but he can still get you quite a bit of value, especially on the Goblin Drills.
You are a P.E.K.K.A player, though, Jax.
I'm a P.E.K.K.A player. I'm a P.E.K.K.A player, so I am biased because almost every time I face a Mega Knight, he's gone in 3
You're like,
seconds to my
yeah, no
P.E.K.K.A.
big
So.
deal, bro. Mega Knight, what? Mega Knight, I agree with you, though, he's a polarizing card. People think he's the best legendary. I'm sure there's some people watching right now who are like, yeah, guaranteed top 3 legendary Mega Knight. And then some people are like, yeah, Mega Knight's overrated, trash, easy to deal with. So I can see both sides to that argument. It all depends on what deck you're playing and the caliber player
Yep.
you are. I don't like going against him though. Like unless I'm playing P.E.K.K.A decks. I'm never super excited when I see the Mega Knight, I have to say. And he does a good job as like a secondary drill counter. So I might have him a little bit higher than you, but I agree. I certainly wouldn't put him personally in my top 5 or anything like that.
Number 9 is the Graveyard. Graveyard, when Mother Witch was first introduced, it was like the worst legendary in the game. We were all like, oh my gosh, they absolutely just killed the Graveyard. But Graveyard players have definitely found out, especially since the Goblin Drill is now a thing, the Graveyard players can put in a bunch of splash units like Bomber and Dark Prince and all that in their decks. They counter the Goblin Drill as well as counter the Mother Witch Pigs, and they also switched to Fireball, so they could just instantly Fireball the Mother Witch when they had that big push going. So I think because of the adaptations to the Mother Witch, and how strong she is, and if they have like the good answers to the Mother Witch, they actually have a decent matchup against some Mother Witch decks. I think that because of that, it's been able to move from like bottom of the road to middle of the road. It's not the best win condition, it's not your premier win condition, but it will get the job done if you use the right combination cards with it.
100% agree with everything you said there. Man, this is so great having you on, breaking this down. Let us know if you like this kind of collab style on card rankings, because you're adding a lot of insight. I think you make great points on both sides of Graveyard, kind of for and against it, which justifies the ranking right in the middle of the pack.
So number 8 is another win condition, the Lava Hound. Lava first play, 240 seconds on the clock. Like,
Yep.
everybody loves to do it, and it's really annoying. However, there are quite a bit of counters to it. I think the Inferno Dragon is a really popular card right now, and he does a super good job against the Lava Hound, as well as cards like E-Giant. E-Giant can go and smack up all the support while the Lava Hound has nothing to help it. And I think it's just a little bit weak in the meta. I think it's a very, very balanced card. It might even be on the stronger side, but right now the meta is just not great for it, and it's really just again, another kind of middle of the pack card. If you play it, you're probably going to be able to have some success with it with the right combo units. However, on its own, in a vacuum, it's just kind of okay. It's not great. It's not horrible.
I agree with you about it not being great, not being horrible. However, it is worth noting that it's the #1 win percentage legendary on ladder. And I think that's because if you're picking up a deck that you don't play every day, right? Which most casual players, you know, or just a lot of players, not even casual, but a lot of players just do that. They just switch up their decks a lot, right? And I feel like Lava Hound is one of those archetypes that you go against, is you kind of have to know what you're doing with the deck you're playing against an all-air, strong air deck. And I feel like because of the nature of ladder, where everybody's just picking up whatever deck they see on TV Royale or wherever, I feel like they don't necessarily have that game plan as they do against more simple decks to defend against. Even if it's a giant or an E-giant deck, as annoying as they may be, you know, okay, I have a defensive structure, I have, you know, whatever. So I feel like that might be part of the reason why Lava Hound, not very popular in competitive play right now, but very popular on ladder with win percentages. So I might rank it a little bit higher, but overall, I agree with your assessment on that.
And I think that I am just a completely biased player because I barely play in mid ladder, and I only play with my comfort deck in mid ladder on my mini account. So I'm definitely lacking the mid ladder.
Dude, we're all biased, Jax. We're all biased in one way or another, right? Because people who are only mid ladder are biased towards mid ladder. That's why we have you on, man, to get a second opinion on this stuff.
Number 7, I have the card that I mentioned earlier, the Inferno Dragon. I think the Inferno Dragon is extremely underrated. Zappies are not incredibly popular, and Ewiz is still a good card, but it's really easy to play around with the Inferno Dragon. And if you get an Inferno Dragon on their opponent's tank, well, good luck to them. It's just gonna go ahead and kill everything. And since Valkyrie is so popular, Inferno Dragon does really well against that. And then you can go ahead and combo the Inferno Dragon with your push, and he can just go and get a bunch of value if you don't have a good reset to him. I really think he, like, almost overpowered if used correctly. He's super good right now, and I really enjoy playing him. He's just a really fun card and always is getting me the value. I rarely have to worry about my Inferno Dragon being a dead card in a matchup. I just think he's super good right now.
That's really good insight. So you like, just for the fun of it, power rank the 4 dragons for me. Baby Dragon, Inferno Dragon, Skeleton Dragon, and Electra Dragon.
So if I had to rank them, I would put Inferno Dragon first with Baby Dragon at like a super close second. I think they're both really good at the moment, but I think the Inferno Dragon's just ability to go ahead and just smack tanks really quick while being in the air helps them a bit more than the Baby Dragon, since the Baby Dragon isn't incredibly good against Drill. But then I put Baby Dragon, then E-Dragon, he's okay, but he's kind of weak, and then Skeleton Dragons, they're literally like almost non-existent to me, at least where I play on ladder. I only see them in like Lava Hound, so I think those are the 4 dragon rankings if I had to do that. Number 6, I have Ewiz. So the stats may not back me up on this one because I don't see him incredibly often, but I feel like even after all the nerfs the Ewiz has received, which I think not incredibly warranted, but I still think he's such a versatile card. He has his reset effect while also being able to survive a fireball in 8 seconds under the poison. He's really good at just like controlling the pace of gameplay, like the Ice Wizard, while not being too oppressive and slowing things down to a crawl. He's able to stun, but he's not able to perma-stun like the Zappies. I think he's just a really healthy card that also has a ton of use cases, especially with his Enter the Arena effect. He's just really like versatile. There's not many matchups or decks where you'd be like, yeah, if I put the Ewiz in here, he would do absolutely nothing. You'd almost always find a use case for him.
Okay, I really like that. I really like Ewiz there because I agree with you. And the win rates aren't super, super high. I agree, very versatile, always a good, like, robust defender against, with any deck. So there we go. Ewiz 6, I think that's a fair ranking, personally.
So number 5 is another pretty controversial one, I would say, because I don't think the stats back me up on this one.
I think
but
they
towards
do.
the end of the season, we saw the Royal Ghost so many times. He just popped up in like almost all the decks. He popped up in Royal Giant. He popped up in the new Drill decks. He's so sneakily good against the Drill. He's able to do a Dark Prince kind of job against the Drill, prevent most of that damage, but he goes invisible and he can really throw off your opponent's defenses. I personally love the Royal Ghost. He's one of my favorite legendaries of all time, just because of how crazy he is to deal with. He can just go and clap everything on your opponent's side without them even seeing it because he's invisible. He just does so much value, and he's normally like pretty low on these lists, but I think due to the meta and its quick shifts, he is pretty high on the list now.
I agree. A lot of value for 3 elixir, and believe it or not, third highest win rates on ladder right now on the Royal Ghost. So the win rates actually do back it up. But you're right. Like for 3 elixir, I always look for cheap cards that can give us a ton of value, and Royal Ghost definitely has that. And the invisibility just adds another layer of kind of annoying to deal with the Royal Ghost.
So number 4, I have Bandit, and I think Bandit has evolved in the most recent changes to being more than just that niche bridge spam card where, oh my gosh, she just dashed and killed my entire defense, what the heck, too.
Yeah.
She can just get so much value in so many situations, and her dash utilization is on more than just stopping a Princess Charge or killing off, like a Firecracker or Dart Goblin in one shot. I think she works in drill, she works in bridge spam, she can work in most things because she's really cheap, and she has that air of, if I don't handle this right, she's just going to go crazy and end my career kind of vibe to her. And I think she's just super versatile for such a cheap cost. She can fit in everything, and it works really well.
Yeah, I noticed that all of your top cards here are all like 4 elixir cost, most of them 3, So the cheaper cards definitely getting extra value out of them. Makes total sense.
I have the log here, and I think the log, even though it got nerfed so that you couldn't hit the tower from as far away, didn't have as far as roll distance, I think it is simply the most versatile spell in the game. It has the ability to knock back every single ground unit. There's not a single ground unit that's immune to its knockback, resetting the Princess Charge. You can play it when the drill is at like a 3rd HP, and it will go and knock the rest of the HP off the drill and kill the goblins while also knocking back the push that's approaching your tower and giving you time to react. I think it's just such a versatile card. Its Barbarrel doesn't have the knockback. He did spawn the Barbarian, but I think the knockback is really important. Zap doesn't have the ability to go and kill the drill and also do a bunch of damage over like time as it rolls. And Snowball, again, doesn't have the complete set of knockback that the log does. I think it's just, it has like all the benefits of all the small spells combined into one, and other than hitting air, of course. And I think it's just such a versatile legendary card.
Yeah, man, this was the big one that I said that you have the worst legendary in your top 3 or top 5, but it is your top 3. So the worst legendary only meaning that, again, by win percentages. And how much can you read into that? And that was a grand challenge win percentages, not ladder on the log. So just a note for you guys watching. Why do you think it has such low win percentages? A card that you put in such high regard.
If I had to guess, it would probably be because I haven't checked the stats on this one, but my hunch is it's used so much because of its versatility that ends up facing itself, and one log has to win and the other log player has to lose. So that might be one of my hunches. I also might be a little biased towards the log because I hate the card personally. I don't like how much it knocks back and how it can knock back multiple stages of a unit. But I think it's just like,
I think you're right there.
Just be because of all of the spells.
It's like everybody. Yeah, everybody uses log. Not everybody, but a lot of people use log as their main small spell, right? Log and zap, like the two kind of more OG small spells. So I feel like you're right. It kind of eats into its own win percentages, and just by virtue of thousands or millions of players playing it, of course, some of those players aren't going to be great,
I would have to go with the Fisherman here. And the reason I say the Fisherman, even though it's mostly used in Royal Giant, is because Royal Giant has been a top deck for who knows how long, man. It's been a top deck since Skeleton Dragons were released. It's been a top deck since even before that. It's just been insane. You can always use the Royal Giant, and wherever the Royal Giant goes, the Fisherman follows. And I think just because of how... And you can also use him in other decks, too. He's kind of being outshone because he doesn't do great against Drill, but like he can activate your King Tower against the Hog Rider, you activate your King Tower against a Royal Ghost, he can activate your King Tower, he can pull everything out of the way. He's just such a really, like, you can just use him in so many situations, and he has that slowdown effect when he pulls. There's a lot going for him, and the fact that he's been a part of the most popular deck for the last year, even though that deck has changed multiple times throughout balance changes, he's always been there. I think to me that just shows that he's a great number 2 card.
Yeah, I love leaning on the Fisherman on the defensive end too for like cards that are just annoying to deal with, like anything charging or Mega Knights or Princes or Bandit. Like it doesn't really matter. He can deal pretty well, not to mention all the King Tower activations. So he's a pretty versatile card for 3 elixir, has a decent amount of HP as well. So hard to argue. He is also the number 1 win percentage legendary in grand challenges. We already mentioned that Lava Hounds is the number 1 on ladder. It leaves number 1 for, drumroll,
Mother Witch.
Mother
I
Witch.
think most of you guys probably saw this coming. The Mother Witch, goodness, she's absolutely crazy. You just go and play anything into her, and all of a sudden you've got 5 pigs on your tower and whatever counter push they have as well. The fact that she can just defend and then also tank for herself. So like if she kills one elite barbarian, she can spawn out a pig that tanks for 2 more hits while she kills the other one.
Yeah.
And that pig that on the second one just goes and counter push. It's insane. The Mother Witch just gets so much value. She's a reason why Fireball is so popular. You have to kill her instantly. If you poison her, she's gonna have 6 pigs coming at you as well. She's just so good. And not only is she super versatile, that versatility turns into a counter push for you. It's just a dream card for most players because of how much they can go and put pressure back on the other opponent.
Yeah, totally agree with you there, Jackson. Mother Witch being #1, she was #1 on my list as well. Do you think what ought to be done about the Mother Witch? Do you think that she needs a nerf? Were you surprised that she wasn't nerfed last balance changes?
I was pretty surprised that she wasn't nerfed last balance changes.
Me too.
I've heard of an interesting solution to her where maybe she gets like a max pig spawn limit, so she can only spawn like 5 or 10 pigs in her lifetime, and after that she just has her normal attack. I don't know. Honestly, maybe if you want to nerf her to like Magic Archer health, where she dies to Arrow Zap and other combinations that make her easier to kill, that might be able to balance her as well. She's just like, she's got a lot going for her, but if you touch one of her stats, I think it'll be enough to give her an appropriate nerf.
I agree with you. I'd love to see that Arrow Zap kind of small HP nerf, because even though that's not a bad idea, the limiting the amount of cursed units she can spawn, I don't know, man. I just don't. I want to be very careful of, or if I was Supercell, I want to be very careful of making her easily the worst legendary again if they nerf her too heavy-handed, you know, like she was upon release. I actually like Mother Witch being strong. I'm probably the only person in the world, but hey, we both shared a lot of unpopular opinions in this video, so I'll own it. Somebody has to be the strongest card, and I feel like in some regard, she keeps a lot of like swarmy annoying decks in check, which is nice. I don't like, personally, I don't like big swarmy metas like Mortar Bait all over the place and other bait decks. So I kind of like her strong, but I totally agree she does need a little nerf. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let us know in the comments, guys, what you think. Well, who would your #1 legendary be, and would you nerf the Mother Witch? If so, how would you do it? Jax, thanks so much for coming on the channel, man. This is a lot of fun, dude. We gotta come back. I want my viewers to give us other things that we can rank, every other video ideas that we could talk about other than just deck spotlights, because this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I had so much fun ranking it, and I cannot wait to get flamed in the comments. It's gonna be so much fun.
Me too. All right, guys, on that note, we will go ahead and leave it to you guys to start your flaming. Go ahead. The comment section is down below there. Also, throw a big fat dislike if you disliked the video. Make sure you let me know about it. Yeah, it's the button next to the like button that no YouTuber tells you to press. Try that one. Check out Jax's player stats and information thanks to StatsRoyale.com. Big shout out to GFUEL, who I've been sipping on throughout today's video. Bahama Mama in the can form. Not too bad. You get 10% off when you use my code ASH using the link in the description below. And of course, a big shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. Follow all of Jax's information. Again, his social media information, his YouTube information will all be linked in the show notes below. Thank you for watching, and as always, take care, guys.